when you learn or study all day, or you work on your business, your brain doesn't shut off at night. It's actually more active. And what is it doing? It's consolidating your short to long-term memory. It's integrating all the things that you've learned, and it's coming up with ideas, like these gems. Like when you dream, we'll probably spend like 20 years of our life sleeping, maybe 3 to 5 full years dreaming. 3 to 5 years. That's a lot of time, right?
So insane to think about.
Yeah,
20
exactly.
years knocked out.
That's so it is, right? And so 3 to 5 years dreaming, and you're dreaming like I mentioned this like last night, that Mary Shelley came up with Frankenstein in her dream. Paul McCartney came up with the song Yesterday in his dream. You know, Elias Howe created this sewing machine in his dream. A chemist created the periodic table dream. What are we dreaming about? And so
sometimes I dream and I bomb on stage.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm not finding my masterpiece at all.
You're not finding that?
I'm just going, I got to not do that joke.
But imagine like you use that same intention of waking up at a certain time and you do it to kind of maybe like, I don't know, program is a weird word, but just asking yourself a question that you really want to know the solution for, and let your brain work on it throughout the night.
Love it.
And maybe you happen to dream about those things. So that's what I do. When I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do actually is remember my dreams. I feel like that if my dreams are there, I just have right by my nightstand. I'm curious what you have by your nightstand. It's like I have a glass of water, a book, a fiction reading book that I read sometimes before I go to bed, because I don't want to read anything like real heady and get my executive brain, but fiction is a nice way of decompressing. And I have like a little journal, like nothing fancy, a little notebook, but I just write my dreams in there each morning.
Okay.
And it trains myself to pay attention to my dreams. Have you heard of this idea of lucid dreaming?
Yeah, I've actually done it.
Really?
In like pretty intense ways.
Naturally? Since you were a kid? Or?
Yeah, just naturally, like fly when I want to. And I've been able, and it's quite often will happen to me in a dream is I'll go, oh, I'm dreaming. Oh, cool. And sometimes I can go, I know I'm dreaming, so it's time to fly. And I just fly. And there's some times where I go, I know I'm dreaming, fly. And I can't.
You can't.
Why?
Yeah. Well, first of all, if people listening to this, they might be seeming like really weird because they never experienced this. They call it lucid dreaming.
This is not common? People don't?
No, it is common for some people, but not often for a lot of people.
Really?
They never experienced. So lucid means you're aware. And so lucid dreaming is you're aware that you're asleep and dreaming. And some people do it naturally, right? And for those who don't do it naturally, like anything else, you could train yourself to be able to do it. And it's wonderful because if you're spending 3 to 5 years of your life dreaming, then you could pick up that time and, what can you do? You can live out fantasies. You can meet people. You can learn things. You go on adventures, do all these things and still get the restorative benefit of sleep, right? So it's wonderful. And one of the tricks that we talk about to lucid dream, I did a podcast episode on this, is just train yourself throughout the day. Ask yourself this simple question. Is this a dream? So simple, right? Is this a dream? You ask yourself 100 times a day, and then the first time the answer is yes, then you're lucid dreaming, right? Because remember, you obsess about something, throughout the day, and you start dreaming about it. What if you start asking yourself that question, or you start looking at your hand, and just like every time you look at your hand, just think about your dreams, and then when you look at your hand, when you're in a dream, and just reminds you of that. But so I write down my dreams, and I get these little gems. And then the second thing I do when I get up is I actually don't get out of bed. I don't touch my phone. All right, because I think successful people, we all have a to-do list. Yeah. Everybody who's listening, you have your to-do list. But I think the people that are like really crushing it, they also have like a not to-do list. Whether it's explicit or it's just something that they just won't. These non-negotiables there's this book, Good to Great, by Jim Collins, says you have to say no to good so you can say yes to
What's
great.
On your not to do list?
Yeah, and so on top of that list should be not touching your phone, right? The first half an hour to the last half an hour of a day. That should be something there. Certain things that you just won't indulge in, or and you know what you could do is just when it comes to your brain. I spoke on the brain. I always wear brain shirts because I think it's so important to take care of your brain. Is ask yourself, is this good for my brain or is this bad for my brain? Before every activity or food that you eat or thoughts that you have, people that you spend time with, because it's kind of, Warren Buffett has this thing where he says a thought experiment says, when you're 16, imagine you're gifted a car, but this car is the car you're going to have for the rest of your life. How well would you take care of that car? You would, right?
That's
but this brain. Think about it. The vehicle we have is our body, our mind, and we got to take care of it. So the first thing I do is I come up with this thought experiment that I came up with years ago. And I said, okay, instead of just waking up and hoping I have a great day, what has to happen in order for me to feel that way? My friend Clay Bear, he has this champagne moment idea. He says that when they crack open champagne at a sporting event, it's very clear who won, right? And what has to happen on the scoreboard for you to just be celebrating. But we don't have that for our life, and we don't even have that for our day. So imagine you're coming back at home and, you know, your fiance asks, how was your day? And you're like, today was amazing. And then just ask yourself, what had to happen in order for me to feel that way?
That's gonna piss her off if every day's I can't wait for this.
But there's three things, like, you know, like maybe 3 things at work, 3 things for personal. It doesn't have to be big things, but just maybe come up with those things before you get out of bed and just say, hey, these 3 things, if I do this, this, and this, then it was a great day. And then you get out of bed. Next thing you could do, make your bed. And that's so simple and it's so no-brainer. But I believe...
Are you the initial make your bed guy?
Yeah, I've been talking about it for like 20 years.
Jordan Peterson is also... You know Jordan Peterson, right?
Yeah.
He has also popularized make your bed, but he might be taking your material.
I don't know that.
I might need to sit down with you.
No, I wouldn't say he is. I mean, it's obviously many people make their bed, so I'm not... I
thought you started it.
No, you know... I
thought people weren't making their beds before 20 years ago.
Until I started talking about it. No,
that was the fun part about going to the hotel. Bed is made.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, who doesn't love a well-made bed, right?
Yeah.
But your brain loves a clean environment. And my things is all about your brain. So you do it because your brain loves a clean environment. And I believe excellence is a habit. That if you could take 2 minutes, do it well, you could potentially take that habit into other areas of your life.
I have never made my bed in my whole life.
What?
I've never made it. Sometimes if a girl was coming over, I would just like do this with the blanket and then I'd set it. I do not make the bed. It's so weird.
Yeah. What if you did? Like one time. Like what if tomorrow?
Yeah.
Like, you know, after you guys get up and you just started making the bed, would that freak her out?
Guys, if I become a billionaire because I started making my
bed. I'm not making that claim
either. No, she actually makes the bed.
Yeah.
And that's something that like a habit that she's built. And don't get me wrong, it looks great. It's awesome. I love it. I'm
not saying I know whether or not Elon Musk and everybody makes their bed and everything else like that, nor am I going to make that claim. But I would just say, test it out. I mean, every once in a while, like throw a curveball and start making the bed and just like, you know.
Is there something about like having a success in the beginning of the day?
Yeah, I think there's a science of momentum, right?
Yeah.
And success breeds success.
Yeah.
And if you could get good at things that really don't matter, then you could take that into the things that do. You know, even little things like right after that, drinking water, simple thing, but right the night before, I'll put a glass of water there, like in my bed, like the nightstand.
Yeah.
And I'll drink it because you could lose up to a pound of weight just through respiration and perspiration, you know, just losing water and staying hydrated. Your brain is 75% water.
Yeah.
It's so a no-brainer. It could boost your reaction speed, your thinking speed, 15 to 30%. Just staying hydrated, man. Like, and you have a lot of water, you know, at the table here, but just drink some water. When I do it, I just down a couple of probiotics because that's good for your second brain, which is your gut.
Yeah.
You know, and then I do 3-minute exercise. And there's a study done at Appalachian State University. I'm gonna get a little geeky here, but they said for weight management and better sleep, when's the best time to exercise? Morning, afternoon, or evening? And they tested groups at 7 a.m., 1 p.m., and 7 p.m. And they found it was 7 a.m. It doesn't have to be your full workout, but if you just did 3 minutes of, you know, what's good for your heart's gonna be good for your head, get some blood flow and oxygen there.
Push-ups, sit-ups, something like that.
Yeah, burpees, jumping jacks, whatever for 3 minutes. Then those individuals got upwards of 75% deeper sleep. Just doing that for a few minutes first thing in the morning, you know, and so it jumpstarts your metabolism, you get some oxygen in your brain.
They slept deeper the next night, even though they were working out
that night, doing 7, And the most important thing you do for your sleep actually is get sunlight. And it's tough sometimes during the seasons, but if you could expose yourself to a few minutes it resets your circadian rhythm. So if you have sleep issues, getting into
what is that? I've heard that before. Circadian rhythm. What is that?
It's a 24-hour biological clock that we have. And so that's why it's so important to have consistency, but it's hard. You know, this, you know, with the whole pandemic and everything, people are stressed.
Is that why jet lag is difficult? Does
very
that upset
much so.
your
circadian?
You know,
and that really, you know, when I talk about my sleep issues, going to different continents, you know, and touring and doing those things, you know, sleeping in foreign environments, like, you know, it's really bad when you're a memory expert, you wake up, you don't remember what city that you're in, you know what I mean? You're in some kind of stale hotel room and you have a, you know, gig that night and everything. And it's, you know, it's tough, but it could really mess up those rhythms. And then you're on different time clock.
So your brain has its own clock.
Yeah.
And it knows what time it likes to go to bed and knows what time it likes to wake up.
Yeah.
And there's all these like cues in the environment to let us know when it's time, even though these outside sources like our phones and like our air conditioning, our heat in our home are kind of manipulating that circadian rhythm a bit.
Of what was natural and organic before.
Right. So if we're like, you're saying we're out there like camping, right?
Yeah.
There's going to be things that wake us up. A fucking wolf is going to howl. Like that has to be kind of baked into our sleep. You're not supposed to sleep 8 hours straight through. You'd die.
Yeah, I mean, certain things that wake you up, and so sound makes a difference also as well. So you have light, you have temperature.
I guess what I'm saying is like
sound.
we should be able to like wake up a little bit and go back to sleep. But that should be baked into our DNA.
Yeah, falling back to sleep is different. You know, like a lot of people could go. Some people have trouble falling asleep. How's that for you?
I think I'm pretty good there.
Yeah. So the latency it happens within a handful.
Unless I have to wake up early.
Yeah.
And then there's that anxiety of like. Now it's only 5 hours of sleep. Now it's only 4 hours of sleep. So
the rumination of that could create, and that stress puts you in the sympathetic mode and takes you out of that parasympathetic. Parasympathetic, rest and digest. You know, that's what happens.
What do you got for that? What do we do then?
Yeah, so have you ever wake up?
Flight we're worried about,
Do you wake, so if you wake up in the middle of the night, right, to go to the bathroom or whatever, can you fall back to sleep?
Yeah.
Oh, so that's great because a lot of people, their challenge is they can't fall asleep, insomnia, or they wake up and they can't fall back to sleep in the middle of the night or stay asleep, you know, and then that's different. You know, one of the simple things people could do for falling to sleep, whether it's middle of the night or not, is just doing a simple relaxation exercise of scanning your body and just going from, you know, your toes to the top of your head and just say, it's like, something simple like thank you toes and go to your feet, your ankles, something like that. But most people won't make it all the way through. They'll just fall asleep because it's such a boring process. You know what I mean? But it gets them in their body as opposed to in their mind. Kind of like counting, you know, sheep or whatever.
That's what I would do. I'd try to like just count breaths. It like kind of pseudo meditation type thing. But for whatever reason, I'd stop thinking about whatever I was worried about. And I'd kind of focus on the breaths and it would work. Yeah, I guess a little bit. Okay, so that is your sleep routine. So
then I get up and I do the exercise, and then simple things that you mentioned, even in passing, simple things to challenge your brain, like brushing your teeth. You know, so that I probably originated over 20 years ago. Brushing your teeth with the opposite hand, and you know, I'm a big proponent because when you use a different part of your body, it actually stimulates a different part of your brain. And we know that if somebody has a stroke or a head trauma on one part of their side of their brain, if there's paralysis, it'll happen on the other side. That one side of your brain controls the opposite side of your body.
Gotcha.
But recent research has shown that when you use the other side of your body, it actually stimulates that part of your brain. It's not one way. It's actually back and forth. There's a study done at Oxford University that says jugglers learning to juggle actually makes your brain bigger. You create more white matter. I don't know if you could juggle, but if you could watch,
I can do 3.
Yeah, that's amazing. So just doing that actually creates more white matter. And so using your body, as your body moves, your brain grooves. And so challenge eating with the opposite hand or brushing your teeth with the opposite. Not only does it stimulate a different part of your brain, but also it forces you to be present. In the beginning, you're not going to be good at it. And so it forces you to be right here. And as opposed to like your mind going everywhere and being distracted and flexing your distraction muscles. And later you can't pay attention on a Zoom call.